Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, and it's Mitchell Renz here from Chat Sports. And coming up on today's show, Josh Jacobs. He's got 3 options on the table with the Las Vegas Raiders. And on today's show, I'm going to tell you what all 3 of those options are. The reason why this is probably the top trending topic going on right now around the silver and black is because of the year that number 28, soon to be number 8, had. He led the NFL in rushing yards with 1,653. He had 12 touchdowns, was an absolute bell cow with 340 carries. On top of that, he also had over 400 receiving yards, which pushed him over 2,000 total yards of offense. So I don't blame Jacobs for wanting to get his payday. He deserves all the money. However, I can also understand the Raiders not wanting to give it to him because of the running back position. Now, if you believe in these words right here, win, lose, or tie, it's Raider Nation till I die. Hit that subscribe button right now. Make sure you got those notifications turned on because when Jacobs signs his franchise tag, or when he signs his contract extension, or worst case scenario, he wants a trade or he holds out, we're going to make a video around it, and I don't want you to miss it, so hit that subscribe button. Some of our new subs here in the month of June. We got Rutherford, McCullough Gaming, do you know Matthew, Hobby Loon, Differently, Silk Willie, and then Bushwhackers 37. I got a homework assignment for y'all. Take this link that you see below, youtube.com/RaidersReport, send it to some friends and say, hey, he's giving out new shout-outs to all the new subs in the month of June. Now, we're going to keep rocking and rolling here on the Raiders Report, talking about the Raiders star running back in Josh Jacobs and all the drama going on around him as it stands right now. The first option that Jacobs has is he could sign the franchise tag. And we're going to go through all 3 of these options here. But yes, the first option, and I believe the number 1 option that the Las Vegas Raiders want, that McDaniels and Ziegler want, is for him to sign the tag. They offered it to him for a reason. So back on March 6th, the Raiders placed the tag on him. And if Josh were to play on the tag, if he were to sign it, he would make $10.1 million. When you look at Jacobs' contract, the first 4 years in the NFL, he made $11.93 or $2.98 million a year. So essentially, the Raiders are giving him a 3 times X raise, if you will. From that measurement, I get it. It's a good number. But from the season that Jacobs had, where he was the top player on this offense, arguably the offensive player of the year in the NFL, he wants to get his payday because running backs realistically only get one big-time payday. Now, in terms of signing the tag, it's not a secret that Jacobs doesn't want to sign it. He's been very vocal on social media. I've said it's been very high school of him, very drama, if you will, for him to type out all these cryptic tweets that he's having. He's looking for a contract extension. Luckily for us, luckily for the Raiders, you have until July 17th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time to sign that franchise tag. And realistically, I think that this whole debacle is going to go until that deadline. Why? Because deadlines, they make deals. To me, the Raiders, they want Jacobs to sign the tag. It makes you better overall as a franchise. The best thing for the Raiders is if he plays on the tag. But Jacobs wants a contract extension because he wants to get money that he feels like he deserves. Both of these answers, both of these wants are 100% warranted. My question to you is this, though, and I'm going to make this the pinned comment on today's show. Will Josh Jacobs sign the franchise tag, and will he play at $10.1 million this upcoming season, which is fully guaranteed? Give me a yes, or I want you to type no. You're about to get hit with that YouTube ad break, so scroll on down. Let me know. My answer is Jacobs wants an extension, and I believe that the Raiders ultimately are going to give him one because Dave Ziegler can work his contract magic. Think about the deals that they gave Derek Carr. Think about the deals that they gave Darren Waller. It was easy for them to get out of those contracts because they said, all right, fair, you want your extension. I hear you. I'm going to give you some more guaranteed dollars, and you might even see some cash thrown in there. That way it doesn't count against the cap. And Jacobs gets his guaranteed money. But also, if he wants the bigger time numbers on the backloaded part of that deal, he's going to have to go out there and he's going to have to earn it. In terms of the whole drama around Jacobs with the contract extension and the franchise tag, Who's old enough to remember this? Back on February 9th this offseason, according to Chris Sims, who interviewed Jacobs, and if you watch the interview, yes, Jacobs did in fact say this, Raiders running back Josh Jacobs told us that he'd be okay to play on the franchise tag, but only if the team loaded up at other positions and added players around him. But if you want me to come back as the hero, you better pay me like a hero. The way that I read that is this. Considering of everything Josh has said on social media, considering what I know about the entire Jacobs situation and his contract, it's either Jacobs didn't mean what he said back in February, which kind of reminds me of the whole Derek Carr saying, I'd rather retire than play for another NFL team. Just a bunch of BS. Or he has his doubts about the team that McDaniels and Ziegler constructed. It's one of the two. It's not far-fetched to say that comment based off of, I am a believer that Jacobs is a man of his word. And if Jacobs is a man of his word, then personally, he does not believe in the roster that McDaniels and Ziegler have constructed, which is fine for him to say that. He's just trying to get his money. But I also don't love that idea because why are we going to pay a running back then all this money, all this contract extension money, when even the running back himself doesn't believe in the current roster that is on the field? If you're going to pay a running back $10.1 million, you better go out there and you better actually try to win some football games. So I said this. If Josh Jacobs believes in the Raiders team, then he would be willing to play on the franchise tag. If he demands a contract extension from Las Vegas, then he simply doesn't believe in the team Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler have built this offseason. That's not an out-of-bounds thing to say considering what Josh Jacobs said himself. So coming up here on the Raiders Report, we still got two more options for the Raiders and for Josh Jacobs because there is a scenario where Jacobs and his agent say, no, we're not going to sign the franchise tag, which then puts you in a little bit of a different conversation. And I know this is the Raiders Report, but I'm a big sports fan here. Chat Sports, we got a lot of amazing channels. But I want to know, who are the better fans? Because I just watched the 2023 NBA Draft last night on Chat Sports. Lakers fans and Warriors fans were battling it out. And I don't really have an allegiance to any NBA team. Yeah, I'm a Knicks fan. That's the team I grew up rooting for. But I'd be okay being a Lakers fan. I know John Borelli, big-time Warriors fan. Who's the better fan base? Is it the Lakers? Is it the Warriors? Let me know right now down in the comments. And here's the thing. We have a Lakers channel here at Chat Sports. And if you want news, you want rumors, you want extra content around the LA Lakers, well, go subscribe. YouTube.com/LakersTV. Luckily, that link's going to be available for you guys in the comments and in the description of today's show. If you're a Warriors fan, I made all the descriptions for this show, and this one was a wild one. CP3 trade. They also have a bunch of the draft breakdown as well. If you want more Warriors content on a weekly basis, go to youtube.com/WarriorsTV. Let's go to the second option for the Raiders and for Josh Jacobs. You get the extension done. If option A fails, and option A is the franchise tag, and they say, nah, we're not going to do that, then you go to plan B. All right, let's get the extension done. If I was Jacobs and I was Jacobs' agent, I would walk into that room right now and I'd be like, all right, you guys are going to hit me with the franchise tag. That's fine. But I would sit there and I'd be like, well, why did Derek Carr? Why did Hunter Renfrow? Why did Darren Waller? Why did Max Crosby? And why did Devontae Adams all get huge deals last offseason? And I can't get an extension. Because realistically, Jacobs' extension on a per-year basis is going to be by far the cheapest, which then if I'm McDaniels, I'm Ziegler, I go, well, you're not a quarterback. Wide receivers have a longer history of playing in this league. You're not the best tight end in the NFL. Yeah, you might be the best running back. You're not the best defensive end that gets after the quarterback. And then, well, you're not the best wide receiver. The unfortunate part for Jacobs is this. He knows that he's playing at a position right now that is undervalued in the NFL. It's not Jacobs' fault, but it's also not the Raiders' fault either. And that's why he was tweeting out bad business. He knew that he was unhappy with the current situation that the Raiders were in, and it is unfortunate for him. But it's unfortunate for all running backs right now in the NFL. So if I'm the Raiders, I know that. And that doesn't mean that I have to pay you because you think that you deserve all this money. When you look at this current regime, they've never paid running backs, and they've been very smart and, well, a little bit frugal with their money. And if I know that, why am I going to go pay a running back a bunch of money? So this was an Instagram post that Jacobs commented on, and essentially what it says is, Jacobs is complaining about making $10.1 million when there's people out there that make a lot less. I make a lot less. You probably make a lot less. If you offered me $10.1 million to play football right now, I would play football in an absolute heartbeat. So he laughed about that comment. Then another comment popped up because, people are always like, oh, you don't know if he's talking about football. There were stories, there were reports out there that Jacobs said that he's not talking about football. Here's the Instagram picture of Jacobs himself commenting, simply saying that, yes, the bad business tweet was about football and that he doesn't believe that he's asking for a lot of money and that he wishes fans would be quiet. He said it a little bit of a harsher way. My problem with this comment is this, and I am a big believer that you should never, really get into the crux about other people's money, right? Like, I'm not going to sit up here on this show and talk about Jeremy and him and his money problems. I'm not going to sit up here and talk about John Scheffler, Raider Ron, Trivan, David Zahn. Like, I'm not going to talk about these people and their money. You know why? Ron might be a millionaire. But when it comes down to millions upon millions of dollars, $10.1 million, I'm sorry. I don't really feel bad for these guys that are unhappy making that type of money. But it's also my job to talk about it. So if Jacobs wants to talk about doing his job, I'm going to sit up here and say it's my job. And my job right now is to talk about the money. So if fans want to talk about this, they should be allowed to. Just like you can get upset about it. That's what life is about. That's what this country is about, Josh. So don't tell fans to shut the hell up because honestly, you're showing me more and more that you're acting like a high schooler and it's really starting to tick me off. Do I think he deserves his money? Yes. But this is the facts here. Raiders extending Jacobs. This is what I know. That Jacobs knows that this is his chance to get his big-time payday. And he might play hardball. The way that this contract extension goes down is these reasons right here. McDaniels and Ziegler know he's important, and if they're trying to win, it is important to get Josh Jacobs on board and get him on this team. They also should do this. Backload the hell out of the contract. So it's easy to get out of it if Josh isn't motivated and if Josh doesn't go out there and play the way that he's done. If I'm Jacobs, though, these are the numbers that I'm looking at. And if you've watched the show before, you know that, hey, I've shown this before, but these are the numbers that he's looking at. He's probably looking at Alvin Kamara. He's probably looking at Christian McCaffrey. I don't think that he's trying to make less than Derrick Henry, nor that he should. When you see these type of deals go in, this is what you would offer him. So I will continue to say this is the contract extension that I would offer Josh. And I would love to hear his opinion on it because I'm giving him double the money and franchise tag money. The guarantees here at 22.2. I'm also giving him a shot to get a 3-year deal. He makes less this season, sure, but you make more, and it's guaranteed in 2024, which I think helps out the Raiders because you save this money here at $2 million. You go out and sign yourself a veteran like a Marcus Peters. Yeah, you're paying him more in 2024, but hopefully in 2024, we don't have over $30 million of dead cap space, so that money makes sense. And if he plays well these 2 years, okay, well, you have a chance to make 15.2. If you don't, you cut him, maybe trade him. Probably trade him, and you save the 15.2. Now, another video that has a lot of details around Jacobs is this video I did here, and it's also available to all y'all in the comments and in the description of this video when it goes out, and it's around Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs because I do think the whole situation going on right now with Barkley and the Giants could really impact, that's the word I'm looking for, shout out to all the beers, could definitely impact what the Raiders do in Jacobs. And this is a really good video with a lot of content in it. The final option on the table is this. And this is the option that Raider fans don't want. And sure, there might be a few Raider fans out there that want this because you don't pay running backs in this day and age in the NFL. But I don't think that this makes us better. It doesn't. It does not make us better for this year. It might make us better in 2024, but you can never guarantee what you're going to get. You trade them for draft capital. I'll say this right now. If an NFL team were to say, hey, Mitch, we'll give you a first-round pick right now for Jacobs. Would you take it? I would be very tempted by that. It would also depend on the team, right? Like, if the Chiefs or the Eagles offer you a first-round pick, that's probably going to be a pick in the later 20s, maybe even in the 30s. If there's a team out there that's like the Texans, and they're like, hey, we'll give you a first-round pick for Jacobs. Yeah, I know they don't have it. I'm trying to think of a bad team. That was the first bad team that popped up in my mind. A bad team that you think is going to be in the top 5, top 10. Then that's going to be one that I take. Yeah, the Cardinals, they have what, 2? So the Raiders, they don't want to trade Jacobs. And I know Josh doesn't want to be traded either. I've heard from both sides that are very connected with Josh that it's just a simple fact. Josh wants to be a Raider for life. But he also wants to know that he's going to be paid the way that he is. And he literally told you, If you want me to be the hero, which right now in an offense ran by Jimmy Garoppolo, you know that he's going to get a lot of work. You know that he's going to get over 300 touches. He just wants to be paid, which I don't blame him. However, the only way that you're going to trade away Josh Jacobs is if, A, he's just asking for way too much money. If he's like, I want $16 million per year. Yeah, you ain't getting $16 million per year. If they also could get a first-round pick, I think they would listen. And then McDaniels Ziegler know they have job security. If you watch my show that went out on Friday / the live show, if the rumors are true that it doesn't matter how this year goes with McDaniels and Ziegler, and they know for a fact that their job is safe and they're not worried about winning this year, and a team offers them a first-round pick, it would not surprise me if they moved on from Josh Jacobs. So my question to you is this. What exactly is going to happen with the Raiders' star running back? Do you think he's going to play on the franchise tag? Type F. You think he's going to end up getting a contract extension? Type E. Does he get traded? Type T. Or if you think Jacobs tries to hold out, I want you to type H. From all of those scenarios, this is the percentage that I have cooked up. I believe that the contract extension is at a 55% chance of happening. I believe there is a 40% chance that he signs the franchise tag. I think that there is a small, but still a chance, that he is traded at 4%. And then I think the holdout is at 1. It does not make sense for Jacobs to hold out. He doesn't make money if he holds out, and it's a bad financial decision for him. This would be a bad decision move. If I was his agent, I would say you're not holding out. It makes absolutely no sense. Now, that was the end of today's show. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. I do really hope that Jacobs and the Raiders end up figuring out this situation. I hope that both sides can be happy. It's a win-win. At the end of the day, as long as it leads to more wins for the Raiders, I'm going to be a happy camper.